Okay, I have quite a job ahead of me. So I am currently sitting in my garage that is an absolute disaster. I had actually had this garage cleaned out at one point, but then there was an issue with the garage. I'm not even going to get into that in this video, but it caused me to have to just like tear the whole garage apart. And I haven't had a chance to come out here and put it back together. So I'm trying to paint this furniture for a project that I'm doing for inside my house. And I'm just having to work around all the shit. And I'm like, what am I doing? I can't keep doing this. I can't, this garage has to be taken care of. And I really don't want to do it. But let me show you what I'm working with. First of all, that's all the stuff that was taken out of the garage that has to go to the dump. And this is the entrance of the garage, okay? This is scary. This is our tool area currently. Oh God, okay. And by the way, believe it or not, this actually doesn't look as bad as it did a couple days ago. Maybe besides that. That looks like it fell. It didn't. I'm trying to get it down. I'm trying to move it to an area. I'll show you where. And it was moving this that I'm like, what am I doing? I can't work in this garage. This is crazy that I'm even attempting this. I mean, this is just an absolute disaster. Okay, this over here, this area is where I do all of my furniture flipping and such. And this is where I'm trying to move that thing to. Like, what was I thinking? Like, come on. And the problem is, here, let me flip this around. The problem that I'm currently facing is that, you know, when something becomes such a disaster that you have to clean it and you don't know where to start, because in order to do this, this has to be done. In order to do that, that has to be done. In order to do that, that has to be done. And so I'm extremely overwhelmed, like extremely. And for more context, I have ADHD. And so this is an ADHD nightmare. Maybe it would be a good idea to start just in this room, get it organized, because there is some stuff out there that has to come in here, but it can't come in here right now because there's just nowhere to put it. So maybe that's what I'm going to do. Start there. And yeah, this is a mess. So I'm going to show you guys the process of me cleaning this. It should be interesting. This area over here is where I keep the furniture that I'm currently working on. And as you can see, it's almost completely full. And I have more pieces that should be over here. There's even more out in the main garage part. So I'm just like, oh. I'm gonna see if I can fit some of this stuff over here first. Sucks because like I said, I'm at this point where like, there's stuff over here and I'm just placing it somewhere else. So I'm just moving the mess. I'm not actually doing anything. That's why it's hard for me to get started. But I know that once I make a little bit of progress, it's just going to be a snowball. So this piece is a piece of furniture I'm redoing, but it's something I'm actually like currently working on. So I don't think I want to pile it over here. This right here is my little workbench, and it has a drawer on it that's drying. So I wonder if I could put this drawer somewhere safe where it could dry, but to where I could stick this on top of here. Guess I could maybe try and put it somewhere safe in the big part of the garage. Now, something like this is not necessarily furniture I'm working on, but it's material, and I don't have a spot right now for this stuff, so I guess I'll just set it aside. I'll just set it aside for now. So this is one of the first things I picked up to flip. This was probably over a year ago that I got this. Yeah, like a year and a half ago. And I don't know why, but every time I start trying to work on this, I get so overwhelmed by it because I usually end up messing up. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's a more intricate piece. But it's not that I can't do it. I mean, I can. It's just that I'm not doing it because I feel overwhelmed by it. And I think I just need to get rid of it. I think I need to just give it away for free on the marketplace to somebody else who wants to flip it, because currently it's just taking up space. And after a year and a half, I don't think I'm ever going to get around to doing anything with it, unfortunately. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I've made some progress. I've got that entire area filled up, but there might be one other piece. Actually, no, I know there is. There's a vanity that I have out there. I think I'm just not going to worry about that at the moment, but I do feel better. This piece right there, that is a base for the custom built-ins I'm doing inside. So that has to go in my house. It is just hard to get in there right now because there's not a great path. So this is one of those times where I'm like, okay, what would be the best course of action here? Do I get that out right now? Or is there something else that would be more beneficial to my time? There is something at the front of this room that is majorly in the way constantly. And it's this, here, I'll show you. It's this cabinet. It is just a cabinet. You can't really tell, but it is missing the bottom, or it's missing the top. I'm not really sure if it's the bottom or the top, but either way, it can't be used right now because it's not enclosed. And in this room, I do sanding. So anything that's in here that can't get sand on it, it just can't be in here. So I do have a lot of scrap plywood laying around. So I'm likely gonna just put a piece of plywood on the bottom to give it a bottom, and then it needs to go up on the wall. It's just that I don't know the best place to put it. I don't know that I want to put it in here in this room, simply because I don't have a whole lot of space, and that has a really big depth, and I don't really want things coming out a lot from the wall. Actually, this base that I showed you guys a minute ago, that was actually the framework to a table that was screwed into this wall. A workbench, essentially. But here's the thing, is that a workbench up against the wall, for me and what I do, is not as helpful as you might think. I really need to be able to move around the table, so I can just go work around the piece. That's why I made this workbench right here. So the top part of that's black. That was the first item that I picked up to flip, and I messed up on it so badly. And I was just gonna get rid of it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to turn it into a workbench because I have all this scrap wood laying around. So that's what I did. And yeah, so that is a lot better for me to have something in the middle of the room that I can work around. That's what I need. Even though it seemed great at first to have that workbench against the wall in here, I was like, I need to remove it because it's just taking up space. I needed a base for the custom built-ins that I'm doing inside my house, and it happens to be almost perfect dimensions. So it's the perfect depth. I might have to add on to the base lengthwise, but that's totally fine. So that's what I'm gonna use that for. That little cabinet that's right in the walkway. I mean, it's right in the walkway. And so you can't get stuff out of here. So I do need to go put that somewhere in my garage. And this is one of the other parts where I get stressed out because I'm gonna have to go pile that somewhere where it's not gonna stay. So you know how it is when you have this huge mess that the first, 15% of cleaning is actually just moving the mess around. So that just like really stresses me out and overwhelms me big time. But yeah, I have to do it. So here we go. upon pulling this, this was kind of the bottom shelf to that built-in table that he had. Upon pulling it out, I found mouse poop, which wasn't a surprise. So these paint cans in front of me were actually here when we moved in. There was actually a lot of stuff left behind by the owner, and we just didn't have the chance to clean everything out. So this has been a long time coming. And I discovered not only mouse poop, but an entry hole right there. It is like, I mean, mice can just so easily get through that. So I'm gonna patch that up before I put anything over here, obviously, because I don't want mice being able to get in here. Since we're on the topic of mouse poop and this garage, at the beginning of the beginning of the video, I told you that there was a reason I had to like tear the garage apart. So that reason was, we have 2 lofts in this garage. So the owner built this garage from the ground up, and it's very clear that he was trying to turn part of this shop into a livable area, including this space. And maybe when it's more cleaned out, I can kind of show you what I mean. And then there's 2 loft areas that he was clearly trying to create some type of a livable space of some sort. And so when we moved in, we just put all of our storage up in that loft. And well, in one of the loft areas, it had all the framing and joists for the floor, but it only had plywood about 25% of the way, and some of it wasn't even screwed down all the way. So we decided we're going to finish the floor out so we can put all of our storage there, because that loft was shorter. The other one was longer. So it's like one day we'd really like to turn that loft space, the one that's taller, where if I'm in the middle of it, I can literally stand up and then it goes to a slant, turn it into some type of, I don't know, but it's got potential, right? So I want to get our storage out of there. Well, as I'm doing the flooring finishing the flooring on the other loft, I notice that some of the insulation is hanging down. And I thought that was weird because, like, why is it hanging down? You literally staple it in, like, unless somebody's pulling it, I don't understand. So I thought maybe he had stuff in there, and upon moving it, maybe it snagged it, but there was like lots of them. So it was kind of weird. Well, I found, now maybe I should preface this by saying, when I finally went up to that loft space, I found mouse poop. Again, this wasn't a big surprise. It was very clear to us that mice had inhabited this garage beforehand. According to neighbors and with what we saw with our own eyes when we came to look at the house, this garage was just filled with crap. It sounds like they were hoarders. So that wasn't a shock to find mouse poop up there. I did all the proper steps to clean it up, and I'm like, I'm just gonna pull this insulation down. This is doing no good, just hanging there. So I pulled one sheet of insulation down, and out fell mice poop. And I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Mice were nesting in the insulation, which makes total sense. And I thought, I'm just gonna keep investigating. I kept pulling insulation down. To make a long story short, the insulation in this entire garage is pretty much ruined by mice. This made me start to investigate so I got down from the loft and started investigating the walls. Okay, because see, this was up in the rafter. So I was like, okay, like a mouse, it can walk across it and it won't be like, whereas on a wall, they have to climb up. So maybe they didn't get the insulation in the walls. No, they did. They sure did. As you pull insulation down, mice poop just falls. So I was like, well, I am just not going to have a garage that is insulated with mice poop and piss infested insulation, clearly. So we started taking down all the walls, which is really tricky because the former owner, instead of putting drywall up, put like plywood or presswood of some sort, which initially I was like, oh, that's really cool. That's so much stronger. You don't have to worry about there being a stud to screw things in. Like, that's smart. Until I started having to remove it. It is, yeah. Some of the pieces are screwed in, which is real easy to get it down. Some of them are nailed in, which you then have to pry, which is not easy. And I'm like, oh, this is why people use drywall. Not just the cost. Of course, the cost of drywall is way less. But on top of that, with drywall, if you need access behind it, super easy. Not easy with this stuff. So the whole garage is lined with plywood, presswood, whatever it is. So it started getting colder, and I was like, I really have to put this insulation issue on the back burner until springtime when the weather starts to warm up, because I just don't want everything in here to get ruined because of it not being insulated. So we have put that on the back burner for now. So anyways, yeah, not surprised to see mice poop. Surprised to see a very obvious hole in the wall, though. That seems kind of weird. But then again, there's so many things in this garage that just make you go, what the hell was he thinking? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shove some steel wool in there to close up the gap. Stuff, let's see, gaps and cracks. No. that lid is so old that it just broke through. I'm so confused. Okay, so this is trash. Good to know. Where are you supposed to take paint to? I know you can't just dump that with normal garbage. I'll have to figure that out. Yeah, because there is still, I don't know. That's kind of crazy. I don't understand how that happened, how it got so eroded. Is it a metal top? I have to take care of this paint. This is obviously garbage. I don't know where I'm gonna put it. No idea where I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna have to figure out where to take it. You should see what it looks like inside. It's so gross. I was lifting this up and I heard something clatter inside. I was like, oh, there must be something inside of it. And there's multiple things. I see pot. That's hilarious. I see pot leaves. Let's see what else I can find in here. I'm a little bit terrified to reach into here. I'm not gonna lie. There's, okay, it's a scale, which doesn't surprise me because I can see pot leaves in there. So he must have grew and sold pot. How funny. This is a brand new scale. This is old. I can tell just by the box. I mean, it has like this 80s print on it. I doubt it's from the 80s, but like, okay. Now this is what I was most interested in. Oh, this is pretty. This is very sturdy, very thick and sturdy, and very well made. This looks like some type of vintage, I don't know, like serving dish, ashtray. I don't know, I don't think it's an ashtray. It's probably used as that, but I only say that because I don't think there would be two parts to it. Cool. Actual ashtray. Okay. We all know what this is. So this was clearly his little pot stash. That's funny. Crown Royal bag with some pot leaves. Another ashtray. More leaves. Matches. Cool. Putting my arm in here when I can't see. Oh, okay. At first I thought this was a pipe for something that rhymes with Seth, but this is actually to a bong. I don't want to miss anything good. Just more pokers. Looks like one of those dentist things, but he was obviously using it to clean out pipes and such. Another one. I think that's it. Yeah, so this hole that's back here, this hole that's right here, was up against the wall. So yeah, he clearly used it to stash his stuff in it. Okay, so now that I took care of the big stuff in this area, I do feel a lot better. But I basically am trying to figure out if I'm going to keep storing my stuff, like my paint and all that, if I'm going to keep storing all that stuff in here, or if I'm going to put it out there. I think I'm going to put it out there, maybe just right outside of here. That way I can sand, I can spray, I can do whatever and not have to worry about it getting on anything. It's just, right now, there's nowhere to put this stuff, but obviously that's because that area out there needs to be cleaned. So right now I'm kind of at a point where there's not much more in here that I can do. This is an old display case that I guess that the previous owner used for something. If you saw my other video, you might have seen that he used it to store all of his illegal substances. But I thought it would be handy because it has these big sturdy wheels on it, you know, to use for furniture and stuff. It's just that this thing is so big, heavy, and bulky that it's not quite necessary. Almost wish this whole piece could come off, and so I thought of just literally just taking that off. But then I realized that the workbench in the middle here that I made, it's been on my to-do list to put it on wheels. These wheels are real sturdy. So I think I'm actually gonna do that. I think I'm gonna remove the wheels and then just get rid of all this, because this is MDF, presswood, something like that. It's cheap material, so and it's pretty weathered. So I don't think that I can do much with it anyway. But I don't know, maybe when I take it apart, maybe I'll still keep the pieces just in case I need them for something. But yeah, I think that that's going to be a really good idea to remove these wheels and use it for that. I got the wheels off, and now I'm going to destroy it. Take it apart, I mean. Why? I don't know. I just don't need it, and I just kind of feel like disassembling it. So I got the massive shelf off of there. And this is like this, as you can see right here, this is like our workout area, which has been taken over by junk, but putting the weight stand up there, that does need to be cleaned, as you can see. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Now, I had no expectations of getting this all the way cleaned. Nothing down here has been cleaned, by the way. But this is probably the most unsatisfying clean I've ever done. Okay, do you remember earlier when I was talking about the mouse poop insulation problem? Well, one of the things I had to do was get the other loft cleaned out so I can mostly keep it empty up there because I have work to do there once the weather starts cleaning up. But there was insulation still hanging down from the ceiling, and I wanted to remove that insulation for now because mouse poop will continue to fall from that. So keeping the other insulation up there, even though I know it's infected too, I really hate doing that, but it's winter time and I want my garage to be as insulated as possible for now. But I want you to listen to when I take this insulation down. Listen carefully. You can hear things dropping on the ground. That's mouse poop. What you see me doing here is spraying it with a bleach spray. What that does is it disinfects the hantavirus that can be on the mouse poop, but also you're going to see me spray the entire floor. Not only does this disinfect it, but it wets it, so that way when I go to sweep it in a little bit, I won't have hantavirus dust particles. Hantavirus dust particles flying up everywhere. Hantavirus can be in mouse poop, and it's deadly. It's really important that when you're dealing with mouse poop that you wear a mask, you wear gloves. You should wear eyewear as well, just in case, but before you do any of that, spraying it with the bleach spray is really important. Now this is where I found birds' nests in the insulation, which was also not a surprise because last spring we had birds up there. Unfortunately, previous owners left several openings to this garage that we have to patch up. I grabbed a stick to rip it down because I was terrified of a dead bird falling out. This is one of the many openings of the garage left from the previous owner. My husband said that instead of totally closing it up, we'll turn it into a vent for some airflow. Oh look, more mouse poop. Okay, this is where we are at. Not much has been done over here. This is how the workout area looks. That little stroller is going to be sold. This is much more functional. All of the little sports and workout accessories are in the drawer. So I know this looks dirty, but actually, believe it or not, I cleaned the heck out of these. The former owners, okay, didn't clean that one out. The former owners were, he was a mechanic. That's all oil grease. Nothing in there, nothing in there. And then we have all of our weights up there. This area still has to be addressed. So these are the cabinets that were up there. These are going to be painted and be part of my custom built-in. All of this plywood I pulled from up there. You might remember that I had bikes hanging over there. Those are up there now. A bunch of stuff was put up in this loft right here. And the biggest progress is probably this room. Well, not the biggest, but this is also going to be part of the custom built-in. I'm actually going to be turning it into, like, so each and every one of these. I don't know if I'm going to do little cabinets or if I'm going to do one big cabinet that opens up to the 3 shelves and then 2 cabinets right there maybe. Either way, that's part of the custom built-in. All of my furniture and stuff that I have to redo is over here. And then still working on getting all the wood back here. This is the dresser part of it. It's not painted on the bottom because you're actually not going to see the bottom. I just went down just for good measure. Okay. And then I made this little area where all my paint and furniture flipping supplies are going to go. Actually, this is really creepy. Okay, so what this is it's like a, oh my God, I don't know what you call it, but it's where you can climb down there and work underneath cars. So I don't know what that's called, but I feel like there's like definitely a dead animal down there. Okay, so yeah, I have not organized this space at all. I just set my stuff over here. And before I got that area together, I actually had started putting all my spray paint over there. And then I was going to like keep loading it over there. So, but then I was like, I like this area because it's right next to my workspace. So I will probably end up moving that, all that spray paint over here. I don't know. But this looks like a cluster, you know what? But actually this looks way better than it did before. And this is all stuff that I'm getting rid of. Most of it has already been listed. I've actually been able to get rid of a lot of things on, I want to say Craigslist, on Facebook Marketplace, which was really cool. I got rid of that ornate shelf. I just gave that away for free, and just some other odds and ends. And yeah, I'm feeling so good about this. I have just worked my butt off out here for 4 days. And at first it felt like I was making no progress. But after, the whole first day, I did so much work and it looked like I did nothing. But then the second, I was like, you just got to push through. And then the second day I was like, okay, I'm starting to see some progress. And the reason why I got the workout area put together fully first is because it was my husband's birthday yesterday, and his love language is acts of service. And I thought, it would be nice if I got that put together for him. he would really appreciate that because he works out there all the time and it was out of commission because of, you know, what I was doing out here. So that's why I did that. And I thought if I have one area fully put together, that's mentally going to make me feel like I'm really making progress. So all of this wood that I got from up there, and then all of that wood over there, it's all gonna most likely go in there. If I can put it out here, I'm going to, because the more room I have to do furniture in there, the better. So if I get all this cleaned up and I can put the wood over here, which honestly, the way it's looking, I might, because a lot of this stuff that's just in the middle, it's not going to be here. This is actually our coffee table that we had to move out of the house because the Christmas tree is taking up space. But yeah, I made a lot of progress. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So I would say that this is probably another 2 full days of working on this. I work the next 2 days, so I don't know if I'm going to be working on it the next 2 days. But I would say because I work the next 2 days and then I homeschool Wednesday through Friday, I would say by the end of the week is a realistic timeline for me to have all this done. There's still a lot of work to be done in this garage. I'm not even talking about cleaning it. I'm talking about after cleaning it. Like cleaning it will help me be able to get to the stuff that has to be done. For instance, since right there, that is an opening that goes to the outside. And there are several of those in this garage, in this shop. So those have to be addressed. I can show you a big one, actually, a big one. All of that right there, I don't know, it's probably kind of hard for you to see, but all of that goes to the outside. That roof you see back there, like if I zoom in, that roof, that's the patio roof. And then in here too, that is just an opening to the outside. So there's a lot to be done here, but I can't do that if I can't access it because everything's so dirty. So yeah, anyways,